Hello everyone, can you see me? Hello. Can you hear me? Tell me if you can. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Gala and I'm a teacher in Green Forest Dnipro. And today we are going to speak about different kinds of feedback. But before we start, I'd like to know who's listening, who's watching. Just let me know where you're from. Okay? So I can see seven people watching. And tell me, where are you from? Okay, I see Kiev, Lviv. Cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we'll start, and today we'll speak about feedback. I'm going to show you uh, the first page of my presentation. Can you see this? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what is the first thing that springs to your mind when you hear this word feedback? You, as an English teacher, what do you think is the meaning of the word? So do not type all the definition, just any keywords. What is it? Mm-hmm. So feedback for you. So there can be different types of different definitions of this word, of this notion, but today we'll speak about like three main meanings of this notion. Yeah, and the first. Ага, не видно? Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Screen share. Share. Right. Can you see the my presentation page or not? Hmm. So you see the screen, right? Can you see this? Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Good. So the first definition of this is that feedback is information that the teacher gives to learners on how well they are doing, either to help the learner to improve specific points or to help with their planning. So, and a second one, which we are going to talk about today, is providing correct answers. So this is also a kind of feedback we have at every lesson. And well, the third one is also the kind of feedback. So this is something that is given by students to our work, teachers' work. Oh, so um, can you just why to give feedback? This is the question. So we are going to I'm going to tell you, and you're like I have a question for you. If you can tell me, so what are the reasons for feedback? Why to give feedback at all? Hmm? Well, any answers? I cannot see the answers, but anyway, well. So first of all, students need to know that they have at least completed the task properly, and this indicates a degree of success of a student uh, after the task. Well, it can be in the form of praise or giving students points for the tasks or grades. And this is also if the feedback is given like a competition, yeah, and this encourages learners. It makes them participate in the task. Um, Also, feedback signals the end of the task or the end of some stage of a lesson. And learners not only need to know the answers, yeah, they need to know if their answers are correct or not. Um, well, reading reading skills may be improved if you give feedback and send students to read the tape script or check the listening task, check the reading task while reading the text itself. Well, and students may also indicate which questions they find most difficult and why, which is very helpful for teachers because, well, they know what to plan for the next lesson. So, and today we'll speak about different types of feedback. Of course, there can be different according to, well, the quality of feedback. So, different types. Feedback can be positive or negative. Mainly, we try to give positive, well, and it can be negative or it can be immediate, given while the task is being done, or just right after the task, or delayed, which may be given like at the end of the term, maybe once a week, or after, like, or during revision lessons, and so on. Well, and the names of these types speak for themselves. So, according to the goals which are the feedback pursues, the feedback can be descriptive or evaluative. So, descriptive feedback goal is to improve students' achievement. So, when the teacher tells them how to move forward in the learning process, so the aim of this type of feedback is to show what to do next based on the mistakes or some strong points of the student. Evaluative feedback is so-called summarizing or measure students' achievement with a score or grade again after the test or like, at the end of term or after some oral like exercise or activity. So feedback can be effective or motivational. So effective feedback goal is to use like this is to use the suggested strategy on future work. Students have an opportunity to redo their work, so they uh, they make like a plan for themselves and correct their weak points according to it. Motivational is mainly positive, and of course its goal is to make the learner feel free and well, and encourage the student for further work. So these are the types of feedback, and they can be conducted in different ways or in different forms. So the form feedback. First, which comes to your mind, it's the oral and written. You can just say something to the student, you can just give the answers like orally, or student after the test, you give the task, you give your feedback while writing some notes about how well the student was, or any other task can be any other for any other activity, it can be also written. At the end of term, when you write the student how well he has been doing during the semester, they appreciate it very much. So according to who is the main person who is giving the feedback, we can differentiate teacher-led or student-led feedback. So, and the whole class and peer feedback, which is almost almost the same as the previous, yeah, but like is a little bit different only. So, and of course the self feedback, when the student reflects on his own work and thinks about it and is making his own plan for future work. Well, and we'll speak we know like I wanted to ask you a question, if you know which of these forms of feedback is the most let's say traditional. So hmm? Can anyone answer this question? Which form of feedback is most traditional in your opinion? Okay, the most is considered to be whole class feedback, but you know that this form of feedback has its own drawbacks. So, mhm. Okay, I see. Good. Now I see some answers. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, teacher led and whole class. Good. So, there are some drawbacks of the feedback, or like whole class feedback, and they are the one that the teacher is the only person who is responsible for important group decisions, such as when to move on to the next question. And well, that's not very good because, well, you cannot manage your time at the lesson, which is one of the most important things. Well, the second drawback is considerable teacher talk. When you read the answers, you may echo the student, you can repeat some questions, which is unnecessary because students already have it. Well, it takes a lot of time. Then the whole class feedback also is unlikely to reveal whether all or most of the students know what correct answer is. You can hear only one student. You don't know what the others think about it. Well, and less able students often can get lost during the feedback feedback. So they are quiet, shy, and if you don't ask them, they do not answer. Well, and anxiety may be caused for students who are unsure of the correct response. So as well as uh, they are unsure, or maybe they are not less able, but they are so confident as the others, and you need to pay attention to them. So um, and we return back. So we need to know which are the options, how to make our feedback better and more interactive. So for this we use like teacher-led feedback, we call it. So which is almost the same as the whole class, but a bit different. You'll see it. So the teacher asks the students for the answers, but he asks not in order, but uh, randomly, and this keeps on their toes, so they are ready all the time. They listen to the others, and so on. Well, the teacher refers students to a grammar reference while checking the answers. Well, so they don't only say the answer, but also explain why. Then answers are provided on the back of the question paper. Well, also possible with explanations or without them. So the answers may be whiteboard as an option. Students are given a written text containing all the answers, also develops reading skills or listening if they read this type script. Um, so students may be put into teams and compete for points, and if they give the correct answers, they get a point. Well, and it's about the teacher-led. So the option to it, or different like form of feedback, is a student-led feedback, which like we prefer, well, because it's more interactive and students take part in it. So the first is peer checking. Yeah, encouraging students, and it gives like they give each other feedback, and they introduce the task, and this all not only provides opportunities for discussion, but also opportunity to use the language if you give them special phrases how to give this feedback. So learners can be encouraged to take their role of the teacher, like and the student to conduct it to the class, or give the answers to the group representative, or giving answers to each student in a pair. Like one student has one half of answers and the other has the other part. Well, in mixed ability classes, it may be possible to give the less able students responsibility for conducting feedbacks. They will be eager to do this. And when it's also useful when students need the next person to answer, not the teacher. Um, well, um, also it's possible to give a number to the students, and every student writes the answer according to the number of the sentence or their task. And then the students mingle and complete their task with correct answers and check. Um, so it's possible also when one students or one group of students like conduct the role of leader and give the answers to sorry to the others. Well, and there may be some alternatives, like mm, more types of feedback for like peer feedback and say student-led peer feedback. Students report to the class on like if this is oral task, speaking task. Students report to the class on what they said. You know this. We use it very often at our lessons, and students report to a new partner or this partner has And sometimes when two pairs work as a group of four, the students work in pairs, for example, A and B, and after they complete the task, they work in a group AA and BB and compare what they have found out. That's for speaking tasks mainly. And students work in groups, for example, write a story, and then the teacher groups students. So now each new group has consists of only like A's or B's or C's. Like in this picture, you can see this example like of jigsaw feedback. Well, um, also um, you can, oh, sorry, students, if the students have written something individually or in pairs or in groups, and then the teacher sticks the papers to the walls and they check each other's works. They walk around, mark the papers, or give the criteria for, and they give the criteria for assessing the work before that. Also, students can write their comments on post notes, special cards, and so on. And when the students listen to oral answers of their group mates, they can complete special worksheets on which you decide before. If you've agreed on some criteria, you can use the worksheets like this, where they read the questions, the criteria, and they mark how well they think their partner was doing. And like or something like this, if it's presentation, they just have these pictures and they choose the best part they like, or where was their classmate good, and some some sites to be improved as well. Okay, or something like this, the stars. You can questions, make the questions as you want to, but can uh, back, okay. Uh, Peer feedback can also have its, sorry, just a second. Um, Peer feedback can have its drawbacks as well, because not all the students feel comfortable when they have to give the answers. They may be insecure, or they may give maybe like shy to do this, or like start using first language, and if somebody tells them, oh, this is correct answer, they may not believe, or when they trust only the teacher. So how to deal with this? um, you uh, if you get students into habit of checking each other's works, and you introduce them to special languages that I've told you before about, so they can use special task language, like the words like think, what do you think about, and what have you got for number 3, 4, 5, and so on. And they introduce their opinion as well. I think so too, or me too, or I do not agree, or I think it's cause, and so on. Oh, so something wrong with this, but okay. Uh, and of course, one more like form of feedback is students' feedback on our work, about which we shouldn't forget as well. So this is when we ask them, don't forget to ask them what they like and dislike about our lesson. Yes, this is feedback on our work, and what was the most interesting, or what tasks were difficult or easy, what type of tasks are the most productive, like for them, and what they would like to revise or learn next time. And you need to listen to your students' opinion, pay attention to what they say, and well, change your lesson accordingly. So the conclusion, we can say that there are different forms of feedback, and they are all like interesting and so on. We should accompany our feedback by praise or encouragement to build like good relationship in the class. For the best result, you know that you need to like cooperate different kinds and different feedback techniques. This will make lesson more interesting and more interactive, and will build good relationship in the group. Well, so that's it, I guess. It's about the time. Well, and can you tell me if you have any questions? Because I cannot. Mhm. If you have any questions, and mhm, mhm. Well, if you have any questions, please write to chat. Mhm. Okay. So if you do not have any questions, or if you have, you're welcome to write to the chat or to write to me personally, and I will answer your questions. And if mhm. Well, I'd like to wish you a good day and productive lessons and good feedback from your students.